This will not be 3 minutes. I need everyone to understand that censorship is happening in our cities, even locally. You do not know what the people in power are deciding on your behalf, and you should be scared. I'm about to take you through a normal week in LA, and you won't have heard most of what I'm about to tell you, and that should concern you deeply if you are a resident of LA. Our bright, liberal sanctuary city is not liberal or a sanctuary. It's no different than the swamp Trump has built. This is what's happened in LA in just the last 7 days that I've kept up with. There's absolutely more. This is just what I know about. Friday, January 30th. The chief of the LAPD, Jim McDonald, said he will not enforce the laws against ICE.
Of one armed agency approaching another armed agency to create conflict over something that would be a misdemeanor at best or an infraction, it doesn't make any sense.
SB 627, the No Secret Police Act, it was introduced by State Senator Scott Weiner, and it passed. It's a law. It is a law that bans law enforcement officers, including federal agents like ICE, from wearing masks or facial coverings while on duty. The law went into effect in January, but Chief McDonald said it's a dumb law, and he's not going to enforce something that's a misdemeanor.
Back in September, Governor Newsom made this directive banning federal ICE agents from wearing masks here in Southern California. You have said that you disagree with that and that your department will not be enforcing that ban. First of all, tell us why.
I think just from a legal standpoint, there's a stay on that right now. There's a judge reviewing that case. So in the short term, there's a stipulated agreement that there will be no enforcement of that law in the state of California. So we're waiting to see what the outcome of that is. But from a practical standpoint, tactically, our role when we get to a scene is to de-escalate the situation, not to ramp it up. Trying to enforce a misdemeanor violation on another law enforcement agency, that's not going to end well. And that's not going to be good from a public safety standpoint for anybody in that environment. Potentially you have a crowd that could be agitated and trying to get their point across, and then you have the ICE agents who are doing their job. And for us to come in then and try and create an enforcement action for wearing a mask, it's not a safe way to do business.
I would like to point out that a misdemeanor is a more serious offense than a civil infraction, which is what an immigration offense is. So he's completely ignoring the irony that ICE is abducting people without criminal records over what would be a ticket. In short, the man in charge of supposedly upholding the law in LA over one of the largest militarized police departments in the country said he doesn't agree with the law and won't enforce it against people, agencies he disagrees with. Well, Jim, I don't agree with you calling unlawful assembly on the public every single time we express our First Amendment right to protest.
Stop! This is what LAPD does! You violate our rights! You illegally kettle us! You illegally show up to protest and act in prior restraints! You're embarrassing!
Look at this, completely surrounded, you guys. Surrounded on Temple or on Commercial, surrounded onto the on-ramp for the highway, surrounded on this side of Commercial and Gary. So please explain to me how they expect people to disperse.
Fuck you! Fuck you, dude, what the fuck? You fucking cocksucker! What the fuck is wrong with you?
We don't agree with your BS law, which you use to step on our constitutional rights daily. I don't agree with you breaking the law by using chemical weapons against peaceful civilians and beating and shooting civilians who are vocally expressing their displeasure about being terrorized by domestic terrorists and our city doing absolutely nothing to stop it or even help in any way. Also on Friday, January 30th, there was a city-wide school walkout. Tens of thousands of kids and people in LA, they took to the streets in peaceful protest against ICE. It was beautiful, it was inspiring, it was incredible to witness. That same day, Don Lemon, who was arrested on civil rights charges for covering a protest at a church in Minnesota, he had his bond hearing at the federal building in downtown LA. And who was in attendance but Karen Bass, our mayor. She went to court and then made statements outside of the court for the national press about freedom of the press always being important, and how this administration is coming for all of them now.
So we have seen protesters under attack. We have seen people being snatched off our street. And now all of you are at risk. And this is just unacceptable. This assault on our democracy has got to end. And you, all journalists, play such a critical role. And I just want you to know, and I think I can speak on behalf of this crowd, we are all going to fight every day for your ability to tell the truth, for your ability to cover this story and any other story.
It's important to note that for the last 8 months, LAPD has been assaulting and arresting the press here in LA and has been fighting the court to legally allow them to shoot the press. They are spending city resources and taxpayer money to hire outside counsel to fight this, to try and give LAPD permission to act how they see fit. She knows this. She's done nothing except give the LAPD more funding and reward them for causing the highest civil rights violation settlement payouts in the history of the department. So her words are for the cameras, and you are being lied to. A block away from where she's giving this speech, as the walkout marched past the Metropolitan Detention Center, the MDC, ground zero for ICE operations in LA, hundreds of protesters gathered, and for the first time since the occupation, they fought back. Not peacefully, but they did fight back nonviolently. It was inspiring to watch. I really feel the need to mention that those of us who have witnessed the MDC, how it's been run by the DHS and LAPD since June, what happened that day feels off. It doesn't sit right with me. I can't let it go. Because for the first time, and I mean the first time, DHS allowed protesters to come right up to the building, to come right onto federal property and create a scene and tag the buildings and walls. And they didn't try and stop it until the walls were covered and 100 people were gathered on the apron, which is what they call that driveway. And the LAPD didn't show up for hours. Usually within minutes of someone stepping onto the property, as many as 10 fully armed DHS agents come out and begin attacking people, shooting, assaulting, arresting, and LAPD is not far behind. We have been in federal court over protesters walking 5 steps onto the pavement and writing ICE out of LA in chalk.
It's never a good day.
Why are you provoking peaceful protesters? Why are you provoking what's your number? 16 over here. Go, 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 go,
And this day, they let hundreds of people come right up to the building. DHS stayed inside the garage for the most part and made it look like they were scared and like defending themselves from an unruly crowd. This was a crowd of kids holding cardboard. They were not scared. I need to say this. Let me reiterate this. They were not scared. They were creating an image. I posted the video and you can see protesters, kids, fighting back against armed agents in riot gear, shooting tear gas and rubber bullets at them. It's kids with cardboard and empty water bottles. I noticed people standing on the parking structure across the street observing what was happening. I saw scenes like this in June and July when Bovino was staging footage here. We would see inaccurate depictions of what was happening here in LA on national TV. Again, we have not had press. This was the first time press has covered the MDC in months. There were cameras everywhere and right-wing influencer types on the ground as kids began pushing DHS back into the building. And then they moved a dumpster against the wall to block them inside the garage. Again, normally DHS and LAPD would be all over the protesters, but this day, they let the people approach the building and LAPD did not respond for hours. I ran around the corner where all the press was for Don Lemon and I told everybody to come down and report on the MDC, report on what was happening.
We need cameras. We have not had cameras in months. Please, we are begging you to cover this. They are about to gas and shoot people by the detention center. If you have a camera, if you are with press, please point your cameras in the right fucking direction.
I ran into Congresswoman Maxine Waters, who recognized me from the congressional hearings in LA that Congress had conducted last November. I told her what was happening, and I told her that DHS had declared unlawful assembly and they were about to start tear gassing kids. She said, I'll go. And she did. Maxine Waters is 87, and she stood the line with us, facing those agents, and she herself was tear gassed and hit with pepper balls and pepper spray. Our mayor, nowhere to be found. Had nothing to say until that evening when she held a news conference outside her home and said this.
You know, I just have to say that I think the protests are extremely important, but it is equally important for these protests to be peaceful, for vandalism not to take place. That just hurts the city. That does not impact the administration in any kind of way that is going to bring about any type of change. However, I will say that what can happen if the protest gets violent, that is exactly what I believe this administration wants to see happen. Because then don't be surprised if the military re-enters our city.
So once again, our mayor doesn't come to the defense of the people of her city who are being brutalized. She doesn't rage against what ICE and this administration are doing to her city and how None of this would be happening without their presence. She puts the blame on the people and says that washable spray paint is equally as bad as what ICE is doing. And if the military comes back, it'll be our fault. Here's the truth. You have normalized this terroristic behavior and allowed it to function under the cover of darkness in LA, away from the media, away from the press. And you only speak about what is happening in our city in the past tense. Meanwhile, every week, 200 people are kidnapped. Thousands of people have vanished from our communities, and thousands have been traumatized. When they come back, it won't be our fault. It will be yours, because Trump knows you won't fight back. Then Saturday, January 31st, there's a rally in Grand Park, and LAPD uses prior restraint to shut down Alameda and close off access to the MDC. Prior restraint is illegal, it's unconstitutional, but it is a favorite of LAPD. It involves police censoring, suppressing, seizing materials, stuff like that, to prevent information from reaching the public. It makes them act as a gatekeeper. LAPD does this all the time, like almost daily. It's their favorite law to break. It's like their favorite law. That night, a punk band, Dead City, set up across from the MDC to play a show, which caused people on the ground to have their backs to the MDC and DHS. This did not sit right with activists on the ground who knew this was dangerous. You never turn your backs to these guys. And the moment the show was over, the band left and LAPD trapped everyone left on the street and DHS attacked the crowd.
Trying to arrest all of us.
Once again, we've been informed that we have not followed the dispersal order and we are all about to be arrested.
DHS shot a woman they believe to be pregnant in the stomach. She lost consciousness, and when protesters asked LAPD to call an ambulance or to let them take her to a hospital, they refused. For over an hour, the woman lay on the sidewalk going in and out of consciousness. Neither DHS or LAPD would do anything to help her. Tuesday, February 3rd, the police commission meeting. Jeff Scobin tells Jim McDonald they have received reports and seen videos that show LAPD using 37mm guns to aim directly at people, which is illegal. He asked for after-action reports to be done, which McDonald replies that they do. They always fill them out. They always have. They have access to body cams. Don't worry, they're going to investigate. This is what is said nearly every single meeting. We bring proof of illegal actions by LAPD, them using weapons they shouldn't or using them in illegal ways, and the LAPD says, absolutely, we'll make sure never to do that again. We never see the body cam footage, no reports are ever released, and nothing ever changes, ever. Also, during this meeting, Jim McDonald tells everyone at the police commission meeting that he brought someone from the commission down to the MDC on the 30th, the day that the school walkout happened, the day that people gathered at the MDC, walked onto the apron and fought back and pushed a dumpster up against the building because he felt he needed to show the commission how much danger the LAPD was in on a daily basis.
The department also thanks President Sanchez-Gordon for coming to the scene Friday night and observing firsthand the conditions that officers faced and the damage that occurred.
That is a bunch of propaganda, Jim. These kids have cardboard. And DHS and Border Patrol, they have live weapons and they're in riot gear. But you and the mayor keep telling the public and other officials it's not the people, but the LAPD that's in danger. It's a lie. McDonald makes comments. Again, he reiterates how he will not be enforcing the law, the mask ban. He will not be asking ICE to remove their masks or check for their IDs. It's a public safety hazard.
As far as my position on it is that it would be detrimental to public safety in Los Angeles.
Now, at the same time, over at City Council, just like across the street, the council is condemning McDonald's comments and the LAPD's disregard for the laws. Then they vote 10-5 to give LAPD more money, which is what happens every single time. They get up and they make these statements for the cameras that can be used on social media, and then they vote against the thing that they just railed against. Don't do it again, here's more money. So now we're at Wednesday, February 4th. There's another school walkout. LAPD once again uses prior restraint and closes off Alameda Street. The students who walk out of a school nearby in downtown LA, they march towards the detention center to find access blocked. So they walk around, only to find more LAPD blocking their way. A 15-year-old kid, he stops and asks a cop. He says, hey, I'm just 15. I don't want to get in trouble. Where can I go safely where I won't be hurt by LAPD? And the officer yells at him, figure it out. And he replies, I'm scared. I don't know where to go. Can you please tell me where I can safely go where I won't get in trouble with the LAPD? And the officer once again replies, figure it out. The walkout goes by City Hall. And while this walkout is happening, on the front lawn of City Hall, Mayor Bass is holding an event announcing the inaugural LA Jazz Festival, officially partnering with Airbnb. Kids are marching and chanting "Ice Out of LA" in the background, while Justin Wesson, who is working on behalf of Airbnb and is a close friend of the mayor, is stating that LA's doors are open to the world. It should be noted that Airbnb is an official sponsor of the LA Olympics, and Airbnb has been a major cause for the unaffordability housing crisis in LA. We don't like Airbnb. And Justin Wesson, this guy and his family are involved in so many corruptions and scandals, it would make Olivia Pope quit her job. He is connected to everything from voter fraud in the Fed to the leaked racist tapes that brought down city council in 2022. It's important to know that our mayor is celebrating this LA Jazz Airbnb partnership while kids are on the street all around the event asking for help protecting them and their families.
I'm missing school. We're missing school because we're interrupting our learning to teach them that this is not okay, and the way that the world is and the way that ICE is treating everybody is not okay. And we will keep fighting and we will keep speaking up about it.
In less than a minute's walk down the block, ICE commits a hit and run in front of dozens of LAPD officers. The ICE agent gets out of his car, yells at the man on the ground, who turns out to be a veteran, gets back in his car to drive away, making it a hit and run. LAPD does not move to help this veteran, but he gets up and he uses his cane to hit the back of the ICE vehicle as it drives away. LAPD then swarms this man, arrests him, and the ICE agent gets out of the car again, reaching for his gun, seeing the police, thinks better, pulls his taser. LAPD arrested the victim and then hung out with this supposed ICE agent who, it turns out, is a Boogaloo Boy, a known domestic terrorist organization. Never once did they ask him to remove his face covering that said police, nor did they ask for proof that he was in fact working with ICE or the government. Less than a block down the street from the mayor, LAPD begins shooting less than lethal weapons at kids who are upset over what they have just witnessed.
What are they doing?
Hey, senior, bring it back! I got that! I got that shot! You shot that girl to the ground! You shot that student to the ground!
Again, they're shooting at kids. They shoot projectiles, hit kids with their metal batons, and chase them through the streets. They beat members of the press. Paint is discovered on some of the kids, making people aware that LAPD is now marking people to arrest later. One of the LAPD officers witnessed shooting into the crowd was identified as LAPD officer Heisterman, who shot and killed somebody in 2022, claiming they had a gun. Friday, February 6th. City Council. Public comment. People share what they witnessed on Wednesday, the violence of the LAPD towards the kids. People are beside themselves over seeing kids be shot and terrorized through the streets by our own police. They beg, they plead, do something. Then Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez gets up and she makes a statement about making sure people pay attention to the real show that's happening.
And also, colleagues, for announcements, if you haven't heard, there's going to be an incredible concert on Sunday. Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio is going to be performing, otherwise known as Bad Bunny, at the Benito Bowl. And so I want to encourage everybody to tune in and really make sure that we have all eyes focused where they belong on this incredible performer that is going to, I know, electrify the stadium. So I want to make sure that everyone is focused on the right show on Sunday.
That's 1 week in LA. It can be really easy for people to miss what's happening on a local level because the entire planet is on fire. It's terrifying to watch here in LA. What is happening in our city should scare the country, like really scare you. Because there's this idea that we are a liberal blue sanctuary city, but we are not. What is happening in the dark under the cover of this administration's chaos is right in line with any policy Trump and his goons would put in place. We need the rooms and halls of these government buildings packed. We need everyone to flood every government office, city council, police commission, board of supervisors, the mayor's office, call the governor. They're supposed to work for us. Right now, we pay them with our taxes, but they are working on behalf of corporate interests that make money off of people's suffering. Wherever you are, this is LA, but whatever city you're in, I guarantee shit is happening there too. Make a ruckus. We need real grassroots change. We need resistance leaders, not politicians.